Welcome to Homeschool House Calls. This is Devin Vasco, your host this week. This is one of our professional home educator workshops, interviews, and reviews from 2018. We had a wonderful time talking with Lera and Sarah about living as homeschoolers in other countries, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did when we originally broadcast this in the groups. If you're new to Homeschool House Calls, Professional Home Educator is our Facebook group, and we have weekly workshops, interviews, reviews from all across the homeschool community. So we are going to have part one this week, and next week we'll put part two out. I hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you would like to hear in the coming months and coming weeks, and enjoy this interview.
You're going to record us? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, this is Mom's Saturday School. Today we're talking about expat homeschooling. We have Sarah White and Lera Hamilton, and they're going to give us their expertise. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to be back and ask questions. But we can start off, Sarah and Lera can kind of give some background information, how many kids you have, where y'all live. Cynthia can ask questions. She's an old hat. She knows me. You can pretend to be the host. It will take me 5 minutes, but here, come here, toddler. Look.
Hi.
Say hi. oh, there's a lip. There's a lip. We'll be right back. Say, we'll be right back.
Be right back.
Come here.
Hi.
Hi. So, can you give us a background on how you got started, how many kids you have, what you do?
Would you like to go first, Sarah, or?
You can go ahead and go first. I'll go after you.
Okay. Well, my name is Lera. My family and I live in Lithuania. And I actually met Devin and Nick many years ago now in Belarus, where Devin and I were both serving as missionaries there. And anyways, so we've been in Lithuania for about 8 years now. We have 6 children. Our eldest is 15 and our youngest is 15 months. So, I don't know, that's me, I guess.
No. Okay, hi, I'm Sarah. My husband and I are missionaries to Romania. We know Devin because we're actually with the state of Alabama. We're missionaries through there. We have 4 kids. Our oldest is 11 and our youngest is 3. So we do what's called business as a mission here in Romania. So we have a coffee shop, and then we have a ministry center and a church plant, and we're working on campgrounds. So it's a little wild at the moment, but it's really good.
That's really cool. Hi, Devin.
Hey, I'm back. That toddler, they get to a certain age. I think I disappeared just a minute. Ah, there I am. Those toddlers get to a certain age and they start getting, I don't know, weirdness, like only mama can change the diaper. And
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, couldn't you have done this 30 minutes ago? Isn't it time to put toilet train? I've never been that lucky where they would toilet train before 3. They're all around 3. It's like something in their mind takes over, and then they want the toilet train. If I try to push too hard.
Mine was 4.
Cole was almost 4. He refused.
Really?
When he realized that his cousins were toilet trained, one weekend, and it was done.
That's how Wyatt was.
Yeah, it's like something is
Yeah.
just, he realized his girl cousin was toilet trained, and it was done.
Yeah,
I'm
pure
like,
pressure.
thank God.
My last one toilet trained herself. On her second birthday, she decided she no longer wanted to wear diapers, and she refused at her party. She took off her diaper, and from that day on,
But she's brilliant.
done.
I think she's probably brilliant.
I don't know. We'll see. Right now, she's brilliantly mischievous. That would be a very good way to describe her.
I love when you post pictures and you post stories. I'm like, oh my God, I love that kid.
She's going to do great things if we can harness all of that adventure, some whatever. She's going to do great things for God as long as we can make it through it.
Okay. I'm not going to ask any questions about laws, because when I started looking at international homeschooling, how homeschool, I just try to stay away from laws. Those are hot button issues, and I don't even want to know. Because when I looked at Belarus, I think all the missionaries I knew were not legal. And that's okay. You know, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not legal here either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. You know, I have my theory, and my theory on it is different than homeschool legal defense. So, whatever. So I want to know, I was thinking in my mind what I wanted to know. My first thought was curriculum. I'm assuming, what do you do for curriculum? Do you order online, your family sends it? Do you make your own? What do y'all do?
We've done a bit of everything. We started in the very beginning. We had some ABECA curriculum handed down to us. I know that's a big no-no, but we went ahead and just ordered the consumable workbooks that they needed, and that's kind of how we got started. But it wasn't a very good fit for our family. I don't think. We've done the all-in-one homeschool, which is online, which is kind of what we try to do now. The difficult thing, I think, when you're living overseas and you're working with the traditional style of curriculum where you have the textbooks and the workbooks and you have all this stuff, and it's beautiful stuff. I mean, Sunlight, oh my goodness, I love Sunlight's program. But the reality is, for our families, we don't have space to store it.
Yeah.
For one thing, and the cost of the curriculum itself, if you consider having to order every year, even just the consumable things for every child, it gets very expensive. So we actually have done our best over the years to piece together curriculum on our own with resources already available on the internet, many material, many things you can find for free. There are a lot of resources out there. We did that all the way up until I think about 6th grade, and just recently, maybe about 2 years ago now, we actually have signed on to Monarch Online, which is part of the Alpha and Omega publications, and that's been a good thing for us. So we've tried to always go more of the electronic route of finding everything in PDF files, everything that's downloadable and we can print out. Just for storage and economic reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a long answer.
What about you, Sarah? What do y'all
We
use?
originally started doing a Becca Academy when I only had one kid in homeschool, and for him it was a fabulous fit. But after about 2 or 3 years of it, he began to really dislike school, and by that time I had 2 in homeschool, and it was just like difficult. So we actually went to Sunlight from Abeka, and it was so refreshing for us that first year. It was amazing. But then as the older or the youngest 2, my kids are kind of in groups. I have an 8 and almost 11-year-old and then a 3 and a 4-year-old. So as the 2 younger ones got older, it got to the point where I could not sit with the big kids for hours a day reading, and my 8-year-old could not do sunlight on her own. So we kind of pieced together between Abeka and Sunlight. And I'll be honest, starting out with homeschool, I was scared to death. I did not plan to be a homeschool mom. I did not know what I was doing with it. So for me, I wanted rules like set before me, which is why we chose Abeka Academy. And then after, I want to say 3 years, two or 3 years of Abeka Academy, we switched over to just plain Abeka, and then we mixed the two together, Sunlight Abeka. This year, I'm actually adding our third on, and so we're going back to Abeka, but I'm going to be doing it completely different from the first time that I did it. And the way that we get our books over is my parents come twice a year, and they are like over eager to help us in any way possible. So they're a huge resource and a huge help to us, as well as my mom's a K-3 teacher, and they teach Abeka at her school. So I'm constantly getting books from her of like, oh, well, this book, they only had to use, you know, the first week or two in it. So I got the book for you, so you can use that. So I don't honestly keep a lot of my books. I've trashed a lot of things as we move because, you know, as missionaries, we've moved so many times, it's ridiculous. The books that I have to keep for like our record keeping or whatever, I do keep those. But Sunlight about killed us on storage space. Like we just couldn't. Oh my goodness, it's amazing, and I loved having our own little personal library. But it was a lot of stuff.
I'll tell you one thing that happens when you have groups, because you said you have groups, and I've done that. I have 2 groups now. What you're going to find is your second one's going to graduate way early before you're ready, because my 14-year-old is almost to the point she could graduate.
Wow.
And I'm not ready. The boy graduates next year. But the thing is they both completely have finished all the science they need that are high school level, and almost all the history. So think hard about grouping them. It's easier for the mama, but you have children. And that's joking. Juliana will probably intern a year before I let her graduate because she's only 14. So she'll probably graduate a year early, but she could do.
So are they doing their school actually together, the same curriculum?
Yes, same curriculum, same stuff. So it's like they're doing algebra. Cole's a little behind. He's, you know, I guess my test kid. You know, the test kid. So he's a little bit behind in algebra. So they're doing it together, and they will be finished at the same time. Science is that way. History is that way. English is not. Math usually isn't. Well, my second group, they're not on the same math level, but a lot of other things, history and science. That's what happens when you group them. It is so much easier in life. And we use a virtual homeschool group. It's online. It would not work for y'all because they have at your own pace classes, but they have live classes too. That has saved me with math. Hugely, because as another teacher, the live classes, someone else, you know, when you have all those kids, different level math, it's a little bit rough. But live classes probably would not work for y'all, but they have at your own, and it's free. You can use it. You can always check it out, like Saxon Math, Apologia. So if you're ever looking for something else, hit me up. I usually know where to find something. But anyway, so that's where y'all get curriculum. What about field trips? What do y'all do? I bet y'all have fabulous field trips. The kind that are going to make me start drooling, because that's what I want. You know, I told Sarah, I didn't tell Lera, when we first started homeschooling, we had planned to go back on the mission field. I don't tell that to people off because Nick gets upset with me. He's like, "You're still blaming me." But I'm like, that's not it. And now we do periodically talk about going to Belarus because Nick's mother's there, and she's in her 60s, and you know, I was wondering that. I just don't like the idea of her growing old without her. Both boys are in the States. She has never physically met her grandchildren. They Skype though.
Can she come see you guys in the States?
Belarus does not seem to keep a working embassy. So,
they just didn't they just open something?
I think they just opened something, but it tends to, And then she's kind of resistant. She doesn't
Okay.
speak English, and she's a little resistant. But eventually, if we can get her here, she will just stay here. She
Yeah.
doesn't know that. Don't ever tell her that.
Whoa.
We
Okay,
have
I'll keep that
plans.
to
We have
myself.
plans. We just have to, we've even talked about Nick and Cole going to Belarus and then bringing her back. So we have plans. Oleg lives in a community where the whole street is Russian and Moldovan and
I was
Ukrainian.
wondering about that.
There's somebody.
Say hi.
Did you
Here's
say
our
Mama?
3-year-old.
Yeah, you're so cute.
Say hi. I just woke up. She crashed with her sister on the couch.
Oh, yeah, that's the same kind of look Alicia gives me. Like, don't look at me, woman.
I just woke up. Look. Okay.
Yeah, it's so sweet. So, okay, field trips. Tell me some field trips, because I know y'all done some fabulous ones that me and Cynthia are going to drool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually can't think of anything drool worthy, Devin.
There's got to be. At the very least, you've probably gone to Belarus, okay?
Well, yes. I mean, I think for us, a lot of the times, because we travel so much, our kids don't want to go anywhere.
They want to stay home.
They want to stay home. And so we've done a few excursions here and there within Lithuania. There's, a few museums. We actually have a fantastic castle, just a little, maybe a 40-minute drive from us.
I've been to Lithuania. I love it. And Riga.
Yeah. We've really enjoyed living here. Belarus was very intense. It got very intense, and so God moved us out. But we have seen a lot. I guess I just never thought of it as an excursion, as a school trip. But I'm sorry.
Devin, can you mute me? Because my mom's
No,
fixing me with
I'm
a
not
power saw.
fixing to do it.
There. Is that better? I love her mama. Okay, what about you, Sarah? Do y'all do field trips, or do y'all just like to stay home?
We honestly don't call them field trips, but we have gone some pretty cool places. Up in the mountains, or the Transylvanian Mountains, they're only about 4 or 5 hours from here. And there's Dracula's castle there, which was built back, oh my goodness, like I want to say in the 400s maybe, or something, like the original building. And so we've been able to go through, and there's so much rich history here. And we've been also to Sinai, which is the King's Palace up in the mountains. The second largest building in the world is in Bucharest. It's called the People's Palace. And so we've talked a lot about communism during the time here, and how Romanian history in itself is so rich. And so we've done a lot of that. There's museums we've gone to here that show us like old styles of living and how Romanians used to live. We occasionally get to go to different countries. So we've been to Greece, we've been to Macedonia, we've been to Bulgaria. We went to Croatia a few years ago. We're going to Hungary this fall for like a missionary retreat. Next year we're going to Croatia again, I think it is. So they've definitely, our kids used to always, especially the older two, they would always talk when they would play, oh, you got to go get your passport. We've got to go cross a border. And when we would talk about state lines, they'd be like, where's border control when we would go back to the States? So it's funny how they kind of, it's like every day is an adventure. I mean, we do have like zoos and places here, which aren't really worthy of much attention, but like they, I don't know, I feel like they're almost not every day, but they get a lot of adventures and a lot of field trips that we don't necessarily call field trips.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. What else can I think of? Foreign language. Okay. Do you enforce this? See, this is something I think about a lot, because when we started, Nick was working 12-hour days. So my kids they understand Russian, but they refuse to speak it. And I really do blame myself, because I don't speak it. I speak baby Russian. I'm not fluent. I don't consider myself fluent, but I mean, I can carry on a conversation with a 2-year-old kind of thing. So what do y'all do? Do y'all do foreign language? Do you take advantage of that?
Do you want to take this one, Sarah, or do you want me to?
I can, but it's going to be a sad answer. So we originally sent our kids to a preschool here. Like I said, I was never going to be a homeschool mom. That was not in my spectrum of things that I felt God had called me to. So when we first moved here, the kids were 2 and 4. By the time they were 3 and 5, we had started some homeschooling with our son Noah, who was 5. However, we sent them to what's called Gradenitza here, which is similar to a preschool. After, I would say, 3 months of them going like 2 to 3 days a week, my husband was not at all on board, has never been on board with them ever going to any Romanian school, because the system's very different. We're not huge fans of it. But we found out that our teacher would only speak or English to him, and whenever she would speak Romanian to him, he would just kind of shut down and not listen to her. And she was teaching her son in her class to speak English to him. So he was learning pretty much no Romanian. And then our 3-year-old was basically, she was coming home speaking some Romanian, but she was kind of getting picked on because she didn't speak the language. And so when she came home with a busted lip, my husband was like, she will never go back to preschool.
Oh, no.
So that was 5 years ago, and our children have not stepped back into a Romanian school since then. However, we have prayed. I mean, this has been a struggle because our kids do not speak Romanian, and it has been such a struggle for us. We finally found someone who was willing to help us. We had searched for so many different teachers. We had talked to probably 5 different people since moving to this area, and no one was willing to teach children, or they didn't want to come to us. They were like, no, we can't go to them. And us being 4 going to someone's apartment was just not even in. It was just not an option. So we finally found someone, I would say maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And so our kids actually do take language once a week now for 1 hour. It's not huge, but I can see progress just with that. They're starting to pick up. So even when my husband and I don't speak fluent, but I would say I'm past beginner. I'm maybe like intermediate, definitely not fluent. My husband's more on the fluent level because he lived here as a teen. So when we don't want the kids to understand what we're saying, we speak in Romanian, and now our kids are starting to be like, hey, I know what you just said, and they'll translate it for everyone, and we're like, okay, that's a good job.
And that concludes our part 1 of Homeschool Expat, or Expat Homeschooling, I guess is the best way to say it. Let me stop. Welcome to Homeschool House Calls. This is Devin.